Coming home, it reminds me of my beginnings, it reminds me of how far I've come. When I was a young person, I had no dreams, I had no aspirations. I didn't know what life had in store for me.
In James's early years, we did everything normal. We went swimming, we played football. He always wanted to fit in and blend in.
I do have a vision in life, and that is to be as successful as possible on track and off track as well. I had no confidence. I didn't have any dreams, I didn't have any aspirations. I was just very much just floating through life. So it wasn't really until I found my true sporting journey, that's when my life started to change.
It's the biggest place he can be free. It's the biggest place he can be himself. It's the biggest place he can be just one of the other guys, one of the athletes.
I remember my first session like it was yesterday. I just felt this sense of freedom that I've never experienced before in my life.
The first time I ever saw James training, he was doing some drills, and I remember watching him moving, just thinking, wow, that kid moves really well. I didn't even know he had a visual impairment.
I was born with a condition called bilateral coloboma and nystagmus.
After he was born, we realised that he had slight nystagmus. Nystagmus is the slight movement of your eye, and basically it's your eye looking for the best image. So it's never quite happy with the image it's receiving, so it moves the eye around a little, which causes them to wobble. Later on, obviously, we realised that he had coloboma.
Bilateral coloboma is a condition where the structure of the eye doesn't form during pregnancy, so it kind of reduces that flow from the optic nerve, which leaves you with a teardrop-shaped pupil. I would do everything in my power to hide my disability. I didn't want to be seen to be not good because I was the boy that couldn't see. I think for me growing up and understanding my disability and understanding who I was real difficulty. Later on in my life I've had detached retinas in both eyes. For me that was an experience that was so unique. I was in the shower and it just felt like there was a river running through my eye constantly, and that was very scary.
He was almost in tears on the phone, saying that his vision had become watery. Obviously at that moment, you're thinking the worst. If your retina peels away, then you go blind. So it was important to stitch back on whatever was left so that he had some vision. Fortunately, when he got into hospital, they realised that the retina had settled. So what they wanted to do is immediately get the laser out and pin the edges, basically weld the edges, spot weld them to prevent it from peeling away again.
That has left me with less than 3% total vision. If I could describe it, it's just like seeing contrasts in colour, and that's it. Knowing you were different from a very young age made me feel extremely lonely, and it kind of made me feel like I couldn't speak to anyone, because how could I describe what I can see when I don't know what it's like to see?
It was difficult as a parent, because as James got older, you could see that he was becoming more aware of what he couldn't do.
When I really started to notice it, I guess I was watching TV. I just found myself just sitting there, questioning how can not anyone else see what I'm seeing right now? I just couldn't imagine living my life that way for the rest of my life. There's moments where I just hated who I was. Them times in my life were very, I guess looking back, and very tough. I'm just happy that there was a point in my life where that all changed for me.
So when we first met, I didn't know that he was disabled or had a visual impairment or anything. Once he did tell me, I was able to ask questions and kind of find out more about how to support him or how he kind of perceives the world. But overall, he does, adapt very, very well to life.
One of the things that I find most frustrating is these little things in life where I guess people with sight just do normal day to day. So when I'm shaving, I'll often miss patches, and there's only so much you can feel. So Charles will, I guess, any patches that I missed, she'll kind of go over for me if I've missed any. This is the King's Throne where I like to sit to watch TV again, so I can kick my feet up. But as you can see, I'm very close, as close as I can be, comfortably. I know where everything is in this kitchen, so I take the time to learn the settings. So even as the hobs now, if you feel on the hobs, they've got little indentations. This one's bottom right, this one's top left, this one's top right. So I can feel, I wouldn't recommend this, but I can feel where the heat's coming from. So I know the pan is pretty central just because I can feel the heat coming through the pan.
He was determined, very determined to do everything everybody else did, and I'd say we just found a way to make that happen, really.
I think my dad was just tired of seeing me sit on a bench and not kind of realising my own potential. So he just said to me one day, James, this isn't it. What do you want him to do? And I don't know why, but the first thing I said is that I want to be fast. When it was mentioned about going up to Cardiff to take part in the Talent Identification Day with Disability Sport Wales, even then I was a bit I'm not sure, I don't want to be seen to have a disability. But we went, I loved it. From that moment on, I slept, ate and breathed athletics. I was all in, and I wanted to do everything I possibly could to be the fastest I could be and to be the best athlete I could be.
Something that you should know about James is he's fiercely competitive, no matter what it is. And yeah, despite obviously what he's gone through his life, nothing's been able to hold him back.
But there's moments in sport where it just hits you.
So the ambulant men's 100 metre final. Niels Roan, Stephen Stone, James Ledger.
And you think, this is why. This is why I make all these sacrifices.
Come on, James! Let's go then, come on!
This is why it's worth it. To stand on the start line and to hear a crowd roar. Such a feeling I can't describe, and it's a feeling like we chase every day. That is the reason why I make these sacrifices, for moments like that, to make my family proud and my friends proud, and to showcase, yes, I'm blind, but this is what I can do.
There's some people who, some of the things he's had to go through, it would completely break them, or they just wouldn't be able to carry on. But the fact he's just completely shifted it and turned it round into something so positive and just something he loves so much, just makes me so proud.
So the visually impaired classifications are 11, 12 and 13. I was originally in the very much bottom tier of a T12 category. And then T11s is the lowest sight impairment, which require a blindfold and plasters and a guide runner as well. My sight has got worse, so that has led me to compete in the T11 classification. Hearing your sight is getting worse is never the conversation you want to have.
It was a little bit of a confidence knock in him slightly, but then I think now he's got used to that idea and he's got used to being in that classification and he's a lot more confident.
It's not nice to hear that something has deteriorated, but on the other hand, James is such a positive person. He saw it as an opportunity to push on and maybe take something a step further than he would have previously.
I don't think I could ever understand what he's been through. I mean, I see on a day-to-day basis how well he conducts himself and how he moves around, and honestly, it's just so courageous and amazing. He's in the gym doing the exact same stuff as me, and he's on the track running flat out. So it's a real great thing he's doing.
Not knowing your surroundings, it does make me feel uncomfortable. So having a guide runner kind of relieves that anxiety I feel on race day.
James has only been in the category he's in now, I think, for 3 years. So we are still only just developing. He's got a new guide runner. Last season he was with a guy called McCoy. Now Greg has come into the fold.
James and Mac both shared on social media that he was looking for a guide runner. They were looking for a 10.6, 10.7, 100 metre sprinter, which myself, I fit that mould. And I think anything much faster than that would be athletes that are maybe looking for individual opportunities to go to major champs, so I reached out to James.
It's been an amazing partnership so far, and his ability to learn and understand what it takes to be a guide has been so impressive.
Elite sprinting, operating up at sort of 10, 11 meters a second, orientating your body, your limbs at that speed is difficult enough when you have all the visual feedback that a normal person would have. For James to be able to do all of those things without any of that visual feedback of even just where the ground is, for me is phenomenal, and I don't think I'll truly ever understand it. And I think that understanding from the guide runner how important it is for himself as well as James really could push the boundaries of what is capable for James now.
The importance of a guide runner, I think, starts way before that start line. For me, it's a mind, body and soul thing. Like we're tied together, running as fast as I can. It might be one of the truest relationships in sport. The amount of trust I have to have in this person to run as fast as I can in the dark is something. And know his ability to communicate is so key in that process. They're my eyes. They are my eyes and they are what I see.
And the second that the blindfold goes on, Greg is in charge of everything. Greg has to basically take James everywhere we go. He's the one who has to put James into the blocks at the start of the race.
The race is going to be done in 11 seconds. There's quite a lot can happen in that 11 seconds. I'll typically have a point that, right, that's us up at 30, because that should essentially mean we're out of our drive phase. Then I would say we're at 50 or 60 metres, and then I would shout 10 to go, and then it would be dip. And then when I shout dip, I would sort of peel back and allow James to dip and make sure he crosses the line before me, because otherwise we would be disqualified from the race.
5 on 30 all.
Their role is so much more than just running 100 metres. These guide runners are unsung heroes of the sport, and they deserve every bit of recognition, because without them, I can't follow my dreams. There's been some huge moments in my life, and you know, I've been lucky enough to travel the world through the sport I love. I'm a proud Welshman. Representing Team Wales at the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games was very much a huge achievement for me. To hear that crowd, 40,000 people shouting your name, it was an incredible feeling.
Il faut rester dans son couloir, très important, et hop, le guide ralentit un petit peu. D'ailleurs, je me demande si...
In terms of performances, I broke the British record for the T11 category in the 60 metres and 100 metres. I was ranked 6th in Europe, number 1 in the UK, and number 14 in the world.
Obviously, watching James in the stadium with 50, 60,000 people, seeing his name up on the board, you know, representing his country, it's an incredible feeling and experience to have your child experience that.
We're pushing for higher. We have to, especially this year. You know, it's Paris Paralympic year, so we're doing everything we possibly can to be in with a shout for a medal in Paris.
It takes a lot of guts to sprint hard, flat out into the pitch blackness, and I think he demonstrates his courage by doing that, and hopefully that will, instill courage in other people to overcome their challenges. I've seen him in action supporting people, not just people with visual difficulties, but with other disabilities as well.
I work for Disability Sport Wales, and I support other visually impaired athletes come through the pathway and find their sport that they would love to do. I host the Disability Sport Wales podcast.
Bumi, thank you so much for
that is one side of it, but also, doing school visits. I quickly realised that through the initiatives and projects that we were running, that I was in a position to communicate, to speak to others. And I think from that moment on, that's when I realised, okay, I can make a real difference here. Everyone has a purpose, and if I can help somebody realise that, I think it would help me understand again what I've been almost put on this earth to do. I'm forever grateful for the people in my life, and I think I owe it to them to make them proud in what I do.
He's just that guy on a day that brings good energy. He's always positive, he's always smiling, he's always happy. Just having him around the guys is so much fun.
He guides me in a lot of things, and in terms of inspiration and things off the track, as well as me giving back and guiding him to allow him to compete.
One of the things I respect and love about James most is he's had some barriers and some obstacles to overcome through life, but he's the first to make sure that it's never allowed him to stumble or fall.
From the day I've met him, really, he's always just got such a positive outlook on life. It is such a goal that he is really trying to reach, that every day counts.
Sport has been absolutely crucial in his life so far. It's given him so much wealth and emotion and contact with people around the world. It's given him so much positivity.
We talk about sunshine and rainbows. That's track and field. I still go through days now where I wake up and think, why me? Why do I miss patches of my beard when I'm shaving? Why can't I drive a car? All these things, I ask myself why. But then when I'm on track, I think this is why. Because I know I can't do all these things, but I can do this. That acceptance has helped me understand what I've been born to do. And that's been born to educate, to support, to inspire, as well as to run fast. Racing in front of all these people or achieving these things, these moments I never thought would be possible. I'd love to speak to that boy who was 10, 12, who would shy away from everything and have no dreams and aspirations. If I said to him now, this is what you'd be doing, I would just laugh, because my life at that time was none of this. And I think sport has given me a life that I never thought I'd live.